This is Chris, and welcome back to This Old Farm Shop, where safety comes first and measuring twice is just a suggestion. I've purchased 10 of the Matt Cremona Style 2 chairs in rustic walnut. I searched rather vigorously for a video on putting together this exact chair, but wasn't able to find the information I needed. He has several videos on some of the newer styles that are available, but not for Style 2. So stay tuned for that video. I chose Style 2 in rustic walnut to best match my 10-foot custom walnut table, which has a lot of figuring and sapwood showing. There are a lot of parts and pieces, and for me, it wasn't obvious how they all went together, so hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and experience to help you get the job done right. So the first step is to route the front of the seat. I chose a 1/2 inch roundover bit, as I thought this would afford the most comfort. Every piece and part needs to be finished sanded, so prepare for lots of sanding. Wanted to share with you guys some of the pitfalls we found and some of the tips and tricks we've learned as assembling these chairs. So if you find the piece that's got the little notch in it there with the 5 holes on one side for the back slats, this is the bottom, and then the smooth one is the top. Some of them are going to fit very tight. You're just going to have to address those as you find them. In this case, it looks like the slot's got a little hump in it there, so I'm gonna get my chisel and clean that out. And I've got a dead blow hammer here, rubber mallet. Just use that to tap it all together. Okay, now you want to find the one straight piece here, straight ends, that matches the same length as this bottom one here. And then you'll have 2 opposite legs. See how the slots are on opposite sides. Okay, these are the front legs. You're going to notice holes are opposite one another. You put them together like that, and then you're going to find the wider piece and then the narrower piece that are the same length, and these are going to have a slight angle cut this direction on both of them. Be able to see the angle there. Okay, you have to look really close, but you can see there is an angle cut there. If you put them in opposite one another, it'll be pretty obvious pretty quickly that something's wrong. At any rate, once you get it together, you want these angled towards the middle. Okay, for the side rails, you're going to be looking for the ones with the angles cut this way. You'll have 2 wide ones and 2 narrow ones. Now, if you put them in backwards, or if you put one opposite from the other, you can see how this was leaning way off to this side. What you're looking for to make sure you got it right is that this is fairly flat across this way. If you had put these in backwards, this would be tilted, which would make your chair lean back more than you want it to. If you had put these in backwards, this would be twisted out just ever so slightly, and there would be a gap here. If you want to tap all these joints down, it'll help with your chair. It'll help make your chair more level after you get it glued up, and also it will reduce the height of this right here so that your seat will sit more level. So I just go through and tap them all down after the glue up. I found it to be the easiest is to glue up the back first, glue up the front second, or separately, and then once those are dry, you come back in and add the cross pieces to assemble the front and the back. So in the end, you know, it's not wobbly and it's fitting together nicely. You've got a double joint here, so you want to do your initial glue up only on this side and around the edges, because if you get it all the way down in there, you're going to end up having to scrape some of it out to get this tenon to go in as well. Make sure to tap these down after you get it glued together. For high here and here, we're just going to torque it a little bit. You may end up with some squeeze out inside your holes here that you may have to clean up. You see how this one's leaning off to the right here and this one's going straight up and down. I'm going to make sure these two are parallel. Okay, that all fits proper. You can see we're flat across here. If we had to put these in backwards, I think I showed you before. Well, let's just assemble it backwards and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, that's backwards. Now the chair, you can see here, it's leaning back too far. You see the gap there. Now you can see the back is more straight here and we're flush across here so that our seat is going to sit more level. Don't forget, tap these down. Check to make sure our chair's sitting level. It's sitting pretty close. Last thing we have to do is lay our seat bottom on and make sure we're square back and forth this way. Now we've put several together, and once the seat bottom is slid all the way back to the back, you'll notice the front, you'll have a different spacing between here and here. This one came out perfect. So we're just going to leave this alone, not do anything else to it. This one's off. You can see how much space is here versus here. So what we've got to do is shift the chair so that it squares up with the seat. First, make sure your seat bottom is nice and square on the back side. Got it clamped but not too tight. So now I'm just going to impact it on this side. It's a little too far. Come back. Okay, then I come back to the back, double check. Good at the back. Now square at the front. So now we'll put some pressure on these front ones. And then we'll let the chair dry. And this will force it into perfect level. Our chair seat is nice and square to the chair frame. And we let it dry. Time to apply the finish. I purchased pre-cat lacquer from Sherwin-Williams. I went ahead and had them add the catalyst and mix it well. But be forewarned though, once the catalyst is mixed, the shelf life is reduced to about 3 months. I paid about $80 for this gallon of it in 2024. You have to spray this stuff because it dries in literally minutes. I'm using a cheap HVLP sprayer from Harbor Freight. On your first coat, I was instructed by the Sherwin-Williams attendant to thin it 10% with lacquer thinner. Then after about 20 minutes, you can sand everything with a fine grit sandpaper and spray your second coat at full strength. It will be dry to the touch in literally 5 to 10 minutes, depending on your environment. This is definitely the way to go, especially since I have 10 chairs to do.
And the 2 front braces.
So they're different angles. You'll have 2 that'll fit the back side and 2 that'll fit the front side. And I'm putting an 1/8 inch spacer under the front side here, and the back side you actually have to cock a little bit sideways to get them to mate up, and you'll see what I mean when you go to put it together. I chose to assemble the seat bottoms last so it would be easier to spray them unattached. You have 2 pocket holes on the bottom of the seat that pull the seat into the back of the chair. Drive those screws in first. Of the longer screws, make sure the next to longest screw is the one driven into the actual seat. If you drive the longest one into the seat, it will break through the other side and ruin your day. After about 3 months of work, we have all 10 chairs assembled and finished. They turned out beautifully. The way they are assembled with both glue and screws, these chairs are solid, like they are milled out of a solid block of wood. You can lean back in them and wiggle all you want, and they don't budge or creak at all. And they match our table perfectly. We have searched for nearly 8 years for a set of chairs to match our table. Thank you to Matt for offering these kits. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you think I've earned it. Thanks for watching.